Now there are a ton of great tools out there when it comes to getting better prepared for something unexpected. But I think I came across the holy grail of preparedness. When it comes to preparedness, there's a ton of areas to consider and all of them are important. Now I started with the one thing that was most important to me: food. I like being well fed and happy. Now I think food is one of the most impactable areas with the widest range of disruptible events. Now from something like a major infrastructure attack, or a war, a pandemic, and extreme weather events, or just a blight on some crop, they all have the potential to have a major impact on not only food production, but distribution. Now I don't know what you've seen, but people tend to get bitchy when they're hangry, and they tend to get violent when they're desperate. And being hungry is a great way to bring out desperation in people. So let's take a moment to talk about some options when it comes to long-term food storage, the pros and cons to each of them, and what I think is that silver bullet that'll give you the most bang for your buck. Now if you're only talking about a day or two, no food or a couple of Cliff Bars would probably suffice just fine. At a week, you probably have enough canned food or even what's left over in your refrigerator, even without power, to get you by just fine. But once that week's nearing the end, there's going to be some sense of desperation unless you've done some planning. What about a longer time frame? What about a month? What about more than 1 month? What about an entire year? Now obviously this concerns me, liking food like I do, so I wanted to look into more long-term solutions. So of course what I did was start to stock up on dried beans and rice, things that would last quite a while. And then I made some really nice little packets of rice and beans, where I even did individual packets for the spices, the salt, the beans were separate, so you could actually rehydrate the beans right inside the bag, cook the rice, stir it all together, or even cook the rice and beans together. And it turned out really good, and I packaged up about 40 of these things and thought, hey, I'm good to go. Of course, then I tried it for a week. Actually, I didn't make it past the first day. Whipped open some rice and beans, made them up in the morning, had breakfast. Lunch I was tired of them, and dinner I couldn't even start to finish it. The same bland thing over and over and over again just became unexciting. Now the upside to my rice and beans, obviously the cost. It only cost pennies in order to put together a big bag of rice, beans, and throw some spices in with it. Also, the calories. You had a ton of protein, a ton of calories, lots of macronutrients. The downside, not much for micronutrients or variety. Again, got real tired of those just after the first day. Would it keep me alive? Sure. Would I be my happy, cheerful self? Hell no. Now the next logical step? Those emergency ration buckets. First off, they come in a cool little pail like this. And they're going to give you multiple varieties of different things like pancakes, mac and cheese, oatmeal, and that's about it. So more variety than the rice and beans. I might survive a little longer on this, but not much different in the nutrition. But it sure hits the price point at only $2,400 per person per year. Plus, you get all these cool buckets, and who knows, in the middle of Armageddon, these could really come in handy. So a better variety that would probably keep me interested longer, but a total lack of micronutrients. More expensive than rice and beans, but hey, I can think of a lot of uses for these little plastic buckets. So I kept going on my quest for long-term food that I enjoyed, and it led me to backpacking meals. Much greater variety, much better micronutrients. Freeze-dried backpacking meals last a long time on the shelf, 10 to 25 to maybe 30 years before they start to taste really funky. But it seemed like the downside would be cost. Now, Alan Worrell 6245 commented in one of the videos that if you just took $100 a month and bought some backpacking meals and stored them up, that you would have a year's worth of supply in like a decade, actually. If you're eating 3 meals a day and purchasing $100 worth of backpacking food at about 10 bucks a meal. However, it'd be a great way to build a stock slowly over time without breaking the bank up front, and having a nice steady budget and a nice steady flow of backpacking meals every single month. So I thought that was a great suggestion, Alan, for somebody who wants to start preparing and growing that preparation time on a budget. And at $100 a month, you're putting away about 3 days worth of food every single month. Now this method would give you that great variety, that good micronutrients, but would cost you a little over $13,000 for a whole year's worth of supply. Now that takes me to what I think the silver bullet in long-term food storage is: a freeze dryer. Now with a freeze dryer, you can prepare and make those meals you already like. You know that they're going to have higher micronutrients, and you know what's in them because you made them. On top of that, you can purchase food seasonally in bulk in order to save a few bucks, or even grow it yourself. This gives you a huge variety of meals and snacks you can make over time. Plus, it gives you the opportunity to make money with your freeze dryer. Check out our candy making video where we made over $100 an hour through a weekend. And it wouldn't take 9 years to build up your stock, but is it more expensive? Now, we did a video a while back comparing backpacking meals to food that we made, and it turned out to be about $3.17 a meal for us to make it. And we had a variety of different meals that we made compared to $11.97 average per meal that we were purchasing. One way to look at that is that every single meal that we packaged up put $8.80 back towards the cost of the freeze dryer. That's after electricity and everything. That means that after 340 meals, you've paid for your freeze dryer. Plus, at 3 meals per day, you have 114 days worth of food saved up. Now, I know that's a lot of numbers, so let's summarize these puppies. Let's compare this to Allen's solution because I think that's honestly the best alternative. Okay, so let's say you went out and just purchased backpacking meals for one person for an entire year, 3 meals a day. You would spend a little over $13,000 doing so. The upside is you didn't have to go shopping, you didn't have to make food, you didn't have to freeze dry it, package it, and you just basically just went and bought it off the shelf, done. 10, 25 years worth of shelf life, and you've got all the food that you're ever gonna want. Now let's compare that to purchasing a freeze dryer. If you spent $3,000 up front buying a freeze dryer and spent another $1,156 on food, electricity, packaging, accessories, and so forth, you would have a year's worth of food for $4,156, saving you about $9,000 over buying those same freeze-dried meals. And that would have paid for your freeze dryer. Can you see why I think this thing is a silver bullet for long-term food storage? It's got so many other uses too. We're making money on it, doing some candy and fruits and so forth. We're making dog food with it that stores for a long time. And then just meals like corn and peas and so forth that we have up on the shelf. So take a bit of time to analyze what your food storage needs are. If it's only going to be a couple of weeks, just some canned soups or 8 delicious varieties of oatmeal, pancakes, mac and cheese, and some dried soups. Might just get you by for 50 bucks. But if you want some longer term storage and that's in your plan, consider the savings of a freeze dryer. Well, that's what we did, and we're absolutely loving freeze drying a variety of different foods. If we've convinced you the freeze dryer is the right purchase, check out more information using our affiliate link down in the comments. And as always, if you like these videos, like and subscribe, and we'll just keep them coming.